Your mother probably told you that crime doesn't pay, and while she may have been right in an ethical sense, technically her facts are a little skewed. Several of the world's most powerful criminal organizations net billions of dollars every year, dealing in less than savory business practices. From sex trafficking to drugs, identity theft, money laundering, and murder, these groups have their hands in every illegal enterprise. While they operate mostly under the radar, these groups of criminals are some of the most powerful and wealthiest collectors of dishonest paychecks. Check out these top 10 most powerful criminal organizations from the past and present. 18th Street Gang. The 18th Street Gang is one of the most notorious gangs in California. Authorities report that this gang commits at least one assault or robbery every day. Spread out over 32 states, known members of the gang have even infiltrated the military. The 18th Street Gang put their power to use at grand theft auto, human smuggling, weapons trafficking, and drug smuggling. The gang has strict rules that result in severe punishment, including beating or execution if disobeyed. They are linked to more than 250 murders over the last 10 years, including the kidnapping and murder of the 16-year-old brother of Wilson Palacios, a well-known South American soccer player. Barrio Azteca. The growth of this major criminal gang is thanks, in part, to the United States prison system laws. The gang, founded by former residents of the Texas prison system, started recruiting violent offenders while they were still incarcerated. The federal government deported the Mexican-born nationals who were caught committing major crimes in the United States once their prison term was over. This funnel of prisoners has created a unique criminal organization that has wreaked havoc on border towns like El Paso, Juarez, Texas, and communities in New Mexico. The gang has grown into a military-like organization with ties to kidnapping, drug trafficking, and contract killings. The group often goes to extremes to take down rivals, including beheading competitors. The Russian Mafia. One of the oldest criminal organizations, the Russian Mafia, is also one of the most powerful. During the 70s and 80s, the Russian Mafia made a hefty sum selling Western-made products on the black market. Today, they have several hands in the proverbial criminal cookie jar, with ties to smuggling, money laundering, weapon trafficking, drug trafficking, prostitution, kidnapping, murder, and fraud. Some 100,000 members strong, the Russian Mafia is an organized sect that protects itself by limiting contact between individual groups. Members of the Vor Society within the Russian Mafia live a strict code of conduct, including cutting ties to family, no formal employment, limiting alcohol, and forbidding military service. After all, a member of the Russian Mafia only has room for one family, the family. The Albanian Mafia. The Albanian Mafia have active groups in the United States and European countries, particularly the Balkan regions. This group of organized criminals specialize in drug trafficking, specifically heroin. The DEA estimates that during the 80s, between 20 and 40% of the world's heroin supply traveled through the Balkan regions. In addition, the Albanians participate in the trafficking of people, organs, and weapons. At least 15 mafia families are currently wreaking havoc in Albania and surrounding regions. Evidence also shows that the Albanians have funneled funds to Al-Qaeda. This violent group trades in drugs, women, and weapons, and their work in Europe has attracted the attention of Scotland Yard and other law enforcement agencies. Whenever you hear about the widespread and organized criminal activity in Europe, there's a very strong chance that the Albanian Mafia is behind it. The Serbian Mafia. Comprised of several organized groups, the Serbian Mafia is a major player in activities like smuggling, gambling, drug trafficking, weapons trafficking, and heists. The Pink Panthers, a notorious diamond smuggling group, are among the most famous members of the Serbian Mafia. The Serbians have a wide range of influence and have even managed to infiltrate governments. Serbian Prime Minister Zoran Dindic was assassinated by members of the Serbian Mafia in 2003. The Serbian economy loses some $65,000 per day, some $23 million per year, due to economic crimes, much of which is tied to mafia activity. So in a way, a large part of Serbia's yearly GDP is siphoned off to fund criminal enterprises. The Mexican Mafia. Another gang formed through prison ties, the Mexican Mafia's influence was able to spread via prison transfers to other penitentiaries within California. The transfers were an attempt to reduce gang activity, but inadvertently increased the size and influence of the Mexican Mafia. The gang recruited leaders of the Latino street gangs to do the work outside prison walls, while the operation was run from the inside. The Mexican Mafia continues to thrive because of a strict set of rules, including beatings and execution for betrayal. The execution of Julian Pesina, a Texas police officer and member of the Mexican Mafia, proves that the group will go to any length to protect their organization. Infiltration in the prison system and police force by gang members is common practice. Not only is Yakuza the largest gang in the world, this Japanese conglomerate is arguably one of the most secretive and most powerful. Like a mafia, Yakuza is an organized collective that participates in plenty of nefarious activities like drug trafficking, murder, gambling, and extortion. What sets Yakuza apart is their nearly impenetrable network of family groups. The Japanese government estimates that Yakuza has an annual revenue of about $6.6 billion, and there are roughly 55,000 members of the Yakuza. Members of Yakuza sometimes cut parts of their little finger on their left hand to atone for a mistake. Dating back to the 1700s, the tradition allows for further shortening of their finger with additional infractions. Cosa Nostra. Movie versions of the Italian Mafia typically include zoot suits and horse heads. But the early Mafia was nothing like the group portrayed in films. The original mobsters served to protect Italian communities against invaders. Over time, members began to extort money from landowners for protection, and eventually morphed into a major criminal enterprise. Secrecy and loyalty are key to the Mafia's success. These traits make it very difficult for authorities to pin down criminal activity. Witness intimidation, bribery, and murder are all common practice. The Italian Mafia rakes in about $4.9 billion, with activity ranging from sex trafficking to gambling and drug trafficking. The Sinaloa Cartel. Considered the largest drug trafficking organization in the West, the Sinaloa Cartel uses their power to make political and economic connections. Protection from the rich and powerful allows the group to sell and transport billions of dollars in drugs every year. This cartel is typically less violent. They bribe first, shoot later. But they aren't above kidnapping and murder. Some 50,000 people have died in the Mexican drug wars since 2006. The cartel focuses primarily on drug trafficking, and they are quite good at it. Signs indicate that the group is making concerted efforts to assert even more power over the drug trade in the United States. The Triad. Much like Yakuza, the Triads have strong family ties, with branches of their operation in countries like the United States, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. The three leaders, hence the name, have strong political and economic ties in Hong Kong, providing them more than enough power to run their operations. The influence of this group far surpasses the traditional street gang stigma. Judges, lawyers, and politicians are among some of the highest-ranking members of the Triads. With major bases of operation in China and Hong Kong, the Triad has a strong hold on the human trafficking trade, as well as prostitution, credit card fraud, bribery, and weapons trafficking. For more top lists just like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to check out our other lists. And thanks for watching, and thanks for learning.